A server breach alert pulses on the nightstand at 3 o'clock in the morning. The screen casts a cold, pale light across a room you paid for but barely inhabit. The Singapore office sends another warning regarding the supply chain collapse. You stare at the glass. Your recent messages contain no names, only demands, no invitations, no casual check-ins, no one asking how you are sleeping. Just logistics, just the endless, grinding friction of moving capital from one ledger to another. You swipe the notification away and watch the room return to darkness. The silence that follows is absolute. It is the specific, heavy quiet of a life where every relationship has been hollowed out and replaced with a transaction. Nobody asks if you are coming to dinner. You check the bank balance because it is the only metric that confirms you still exist. The digits could buy the skyline outside your window. You secured the wealth you promised yourself 10 years ago when you were sleeping on a mattress on the floor, terrified of failure. You built the empire. You beat the competitors who laughed at your early prototypes. Yet the silence pressing against your eardrums right now feels like cold water held too long in cupped hands. You cannot buy a conversation that does not secretly want something from you. The money is a shield that accidentally became a prison. The wealth remains. The morning commute offers no relief. The driver looks forward, treating you not as a passenger, but as cargo. The soundproof glass of the luxury sedan turns the city into a silent film where you are entirely surrounded by human life, yet completely untouched by it. You watch people buying coffee, arguing on street corners, holding hands at crosswalks. They look chaotic. They look exhausted. But they do not look empty. You realize the isolation you feel is not a temporary glitch in your schedule. It is the foundation of the house you chose to build. You built this wall. Every promotion severed a lateral connection. Every successful funding round pushed you further up the mountain where the air is too thin for normal breathing. The peers who once argued with you over bad coffee in the break room now manage their tone when you enter the boardroom. They watch your face before they speak. They calculate the risk of honesty and decide it is too expensive. They choose silence. This is the architecture of competence. The higher you climb, the colder the geometry becomes. You wanted to be the final authority. You wanted the last word on product design, on the marketing budget, on the hiring roadmap. You fought for the right to make the ultimate call, and now you have discovered what final authority actually feels like when the adrenaline wears off. It is freezing. You arrive at the executive floor. The assistant hands you a coffee without making eye contact, handing it to your title rather than to you. You are a walking bottleneck of decisions. The people who report to you do not bring you solutions. They bring you the terrifying, high-stakes problems they lack the courage to solve themselves. You are the emotional dumping ground for an entire corporation. The schedule is a fortress. The power works exactly as designed. The system you engineered runs smoothly, generating revenue while you sleep. The phone rings constantly for the person you became, the CEO, the founder, the visionary, but no one is calling the person you actually are. The gap between your public avatar and your private self has grown so wide that you no longer know how to cross it. Only the title speaks. Modern business literature frames this loneliness as a temporary management problem, a side effect of poor work-life balance that can be cured with weekend retreats, mindfulness apps, or better delegation strategies. The industry sells you executive coaching to make the isolation feel like a badge of honor. This is an illusion designed to keep you functioning within a machine that feeds on your exhaustion. The loneliness is structural. To understand why the ground cleared around you, we must strip away the modern corporate terminology. We must ignore the spreadsheets and the equity structures. We must look at the geography of ancient authority. We must look at what happens to the human soul when it is forced to stand entirely alone in the heat. We must examine the drought. Look at the root. 3,000 years ago, a man named Elijah sat by the brook Cherith waiting for water while the sky offered nothing and the earth offered dust. He delivered a hard, uncompromising truth to an entire kingdom that did not want to hear it. He spoke the reality they were ignoring, and his reward for that vision was not applause or gratitude. His reward was total, uncompromising isolation. The desert provides no feedback. He lost his context. He inhabited a space where his own name found no mirror. The dry land held no record of his past victories, no recognition of his status. When you carry a vision that no one else can see, when you understand where the market is moving long before your board of directors does, you are exiled to the desert of your own foresight. You can see the water coming, but until it arrives, you must sit in the sand while everyone else calls you insane. Only the thirst remains. The Hebrew root, karab. Press it between your fingers. Roll the sound in your mouth. It means to scorch, to wither, to become utterly desolate. It forms the outline of a current that stopped arriving long before the mud finished drying. It is the exact feeling of looking at your contact list and realizing there is not a single person you can call who will not immediately calculate what your vulnerability means for their stock options. Something upstream closed. Modern success occupies this same brutal geography. You stand at the end of the hall, behind the heavy door. You are the source of the river for hundreds of employees. Your decisions generate the revenue that pays their mortgages, buys their children's braces, and funds their vacations. You provide the rain, but the soil around your own roots has turned to chalk because you spend all your moisture keeping the forest alive. The door is shut. The market swallows your voice. You cannot complain to your team about the weight of the payroll because the payroll is their survival. You cannot share the terror of the falling profit margins because terror causes panic, and panic causes talent to flee. You are trapped in the provider's silence. You must project absolute certainty while internally managing complete chaos. You speak only in reassurance. The travel schedule blurs the days into a single, endless corridor of airports and boardrooms. You sit in an empty hotel lobby halfway across the world, staring at a screen containing no messages from the people who used to make you laugh until you couldn't breathe. The isolation is not a punishment. It is the price of keeping everyone else safe from the volatility you manage every day. You are alone. Every keystroke moves payroll numbers that feed entire families. It is a radioactive responsibility that keeps people at a measured, safe distance. They see the security you provide. They see the sleek offices and the reliable direct deposits. They assume the person sitting at the top of the pyramid is immune to the cold. They miss the cost. Providing for others pushes you away from them. Success is an engine designed to strip the shared struggle bare. If your employees truly understood the risk you carry, if they saw how close the company came to failing last quarter, they could not do their jobs. You absorb the terror so they can focus on the work. You built the fortress. Elijah pressed his back against the cave wall, listening for thunder. He wanted the universe to validate his suffering with a massive cinematic storm. He wanted God to prove that the pain was worth something visible. The universe did not answer with a storm. A sound of sheer dry stillness did. It was a silence so complete it felt like a physical object pressing against his chest. It had weight. You must stop waiting for the rain. You are waiting for the people around you to finally understand the immense, crushing pressure you are under. You are hoping for a moment of validation that will make the years of grinding isolation feel justified. They never will. The drought does not destroy the structure you built. The drought reveals it. Solitude hardens the skin. The emptiness is not a punishment for succeeding too much, nor is it a sign that you have failed as a human being. It is the final stage of refinement for the person required to hold the ceiling up while everyone else dances in the room below. It is the refinement. You check the departure screen. The glass is cold under your hand. No one reaches out from the years before the equity vested. The boardroom holds a heavy, metallic silence that you will never be able to fill with small talk. Stop trying to drag your old life into your new altitude. Do not reach. A larger network will not cure this isolation. A better calendar management system is just more noise masquerading as a solution. The emptiness requires sitting, not solving. It requires a surrender to the void. Leave your devices in another room tonight. Find a patch of earth that does not care about your quarterly projections or your market share. Press your palms into the dirt. Walk into a public space where absolutely no one knows your name. Find a bench. Watch people move through their ordinary, chaotic lives without needing a single thing from you. Feel the incredible lightness of being completely irrelevant to the survival of the strangers walking past. Become a ghost. You speak. The sand swallows your voice. Nothing returns. Silence returns. The street lamp flickers above the concrete. You breathe in the cold air, finally accepting the terms of the contract you signed with your own ambition. Nobody asks if you are coming to dinner. Every keystroke moves payroll numbers that feed hundreds of families. The weight of that keeps people at a measured distance. They see the finished product. They do not see the hands shaking when you close the spreadsheet. Elijah fled into the wilderness. He sat by the brook Cherith and waited. No wind answered. No fire came. He found only drying mud and a receding water line. The army is gone. No host remains. You are a singular unit now. The gap between the leader and the led measured not in floors or org charts, but in the physical distance between your desk and the last time someone sat across from you without an agenda. Providing for others pushes you away from them. Success strips the shared struggle bare. All that remains is the sun. The phone rests on the marble desk. No notifications arrive. The cooling system hums at a frequency just below thought. The numbers stay cold. The silence grows heavy. Elijah pressed his back against the cave wall, listening for thunder that never came. The force did not answer. A sound of sheer dry stillness did, something so quiet it required the entire desert to hear it. A silence so complete it had weight, pressing against the chest like a hand laid flat on stone. The founder sits in the server-cooled dark. The mouth goes dry. The mind goes sharp. The drought does not destroy the structure. The drought reveals it. Solitude hardens the skin. The drought is where the structure settles. Tonight, go to a park. Sit on a bench. Leave the phone behind. Watch the shadows crawl across the grass until you feel the cold weight of being unseen. The screen stays black. You check for notifications. The glass is cold. No one reaches out from the years before the equity vested or the headcount tripled. A boardroom holds a heavy silence. You sit in an expensive chair surrounded by high-fidelity speakers. You hear only your own breath. Your jaw locks mid-sentence, your knuckles white on armrests you never chose to grip. Something is about to give. A larger network will not cure this. A better calendar is just more noise. The emptiness requires sitting, not solving. Leave your devices in another room tonight. Go outside. Find a patch of earth that does not care about quarterly projections. Press your palms into the dirt until the cold seeps through your skin and settles in your bones. The brook dried up and Elijah sat under a broom tree, hands open, holding nothing. You have to sit with the emptiness, without reaching. A larger bank account will not fix a silent phone. More meetings will not bridge the gap between your desk and your old life. The desert asks only one thing: your presence. Walk into a space tonight where no one knows your name or your net worth. Find a bench. Watch people move through their ordinary lives without needing anything from you. Become a ghost in your own city. Just watch. Silence returns. The screen stays black. Nobody asks if you are coming to dinner.